Sounds like you're carrying around your former enemies, the same way you're still carrying around that metal poison. You ever consider maybe you could learn something from them?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 times The Legend of Korra tackled serious subjects.
Don't pretend you know what it felt like. The Avatar is adored by millions. I was cast aside by my own parents like I meant nothing to them. How could I just stand by?
For this list, we're looking at more mature themes discussed or alluded to in this fantasy show. Since we'll be diving into serious plot points, beware of spoilers ahead. Which of these issues do you think the show handled really well? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Korra and Asami's sexuality.
I hope you haven't been waiting long.
Only 3 years. It's so good to see you again.
It isn't always easy for creators of shows aimed at younger audiences to include LGBTQ+ characters without facing pushback from the networks. Although Nickelodeon reportedly had some restrictions, they were thankfully supportive of Korra and Asami's relationship overall. The duo was initially romantic rivals that were chasing after the same guy. But by the end of the series, they became close enough to start a relationship. Showing a lead character embracing their bisexuality was a step in the right direction for LGBTQ+ representation. Although we never see the duo kiss in the series, we learned more about their relationship in the Turf Wars comics. The story continued to explore Asami and Korra's romance and how different nations felt about LGBTQ+ relationships.
You don't need to apologize for anything. I'm just so happy you're here now.
Number 9. Becoming orphaned at a young age.
No, it's all right. It's just, ever since we lost our parents, we've been on our own.
Lovable brothers Mako and Bolin were two of Avatar Korra's most trustworthy allies. Before the siblings met the heroine, they had to overcome tragedy at a young age. When they were young, their parents were slain by a firebender.
They were mugged by a firebender. He cut them down right in front of me. I was 8.
Mako.
Bolin's the only family I have left.
Since Mako and Bolin didn't have any other family to lean on, they grew up on the streets. The series shows the desperate lengths the brothers went to in order to survive on their own. They even worked for a gang known as the Triple Threat Triads. Even though they found more of their family in Season 3, their troubled childhood certainly took a toll on them. Neither the brothers nor the audience will forget what they had to overcome to survive.
Bolin, you alright?
Yes, Mako! I love you!
Number 8. Politicians misusing their power. The Legend of Korra covers a lot of political themes. In the first season, the growing threat of the villain Amon pushes Councilman Tarlok to go to extremes.
The police department will lend any and all available resources to the councilman and his task force until we quell this insurgency.
Rather than try to keep people safe by peaceful means, Tarlok leans into his hold over the Republic City police force. He has his own man promoted to police chief and issues a strict curfew for all citizens.
All non-benders, return to your homes immediately.
Yeah, as soon as you turn our power back on.
But these actions only serve to make things worse. Throughout this plot, the show makes it clear that people in power should be responsible for how they use it. And if they misuse their privilege, heroines like Korra have every right to voice their concerns. It's a striking message about politics that will likely always be relevant.
See, that's what I admire about you, Korra. Your willingness to go to extremes in order to get what you want. It is a quality we both share.
Number 7. Elitism.
If any food is served, don't eat before she eats. Well, actually, I have to taste her food first, then she eats, then you can eat. Better yet, just don't eat.
In Avatar: The Last Airbender, we were introduced to Ba Sing Se, an Earth Kingdom city dividing classes by massive walls.
What's that wall for?
Oh, Ba Sing Se has many walls. There are the ones outside protecting us, and the ones inside that help maintain order.
The Legend of Korra unfortunately showed us that things had not changed much. Actually, that's not true. Ba Sing Se was much worse in Korra. The Earth Queen was a horrible, power-hungry woman who thought very little of her subjects. She lived a rich lifestyle by overtaxing her citizens. What made this villain such an effective character was the fact that some people truly thought she was better than them. After a few encounters, the parallels between the Earth Queen and real-life political figures was strikingly clear. Although she was worshipped by some, it was also very telling that others celebrated her fall.
You're on the wrong side of this fight, Avatar! That gold belongs to the people, not the Queen!
Number 6. Family trauma. The Legend of Korra explored how much family trauma can shape people's lives.
You think just because you live in a big fancy house and have a chef who cooks you fancy food that you're a different person? Maybe you can fool everyone else, but you can't fool me. I see right through you.
The Beifong sisters had a major falling out after an incident left Lin physically and emotionally scarred. Thanks to bad parenting, Noatak and Tarlok grew up to become seriously damaged villains.
Our father pushed us to extremes, and one day, he made us bloodbend each other.
And as much as we love Aang, he puts tons of pressure on his airbending son Tenzin while paying less attention to his other kids.
Because you seem to have some grandiose delusion that we had a perfect, happy-go-lucky childhood. Guess what? We didn't.
In each and every one of these stories and more, it was clear that the only way to start healing from family trauma was to be open and honest about what happened. While some characters never got a chance to fix things, the ones that did were much better for trying. Number 5. Civil War. Civil wars are an unfortunate piece to the history of many countries.
A lot of Southerners feel like their tribe is being invaded.
I am their chief. I'm uniting, not invading.
In the show's second season, Northern Water Tribe leader Unalaq manipulated Korra into thinking he wanted to unite the two tribes. But this was just a part of his overall plan to seize power. In order to accomplish his goals, he occupied the southern tribe. This move eventually started a major internal conflict. The Water Tribe's civil war showed how differing ideologies within one nation can lead to violence.
Turn around, Avatar, and pretend you didn't see anything.
More importantly, it showed how dangerous leaders can be when they enter another place under the guise of helping and restoring balance.
Bring him back, or I'm taking you out and the rest of your army.
Remember who you are. As the Avatar, you cannot threaten war. You must remain neutral, or our tribes will never find unity.
Number 4. Populism and radicalization. Populism and radicalization were Amon's bread and butter.
The era of bending is over. A new era of equality has begun.
The Season 1 villain ingratiated himself to the non-bending citizens of Republic City by feeding into their fear. In his speeches, he promised to do something about their treatment at the hands of people who could manipulate elements.
The only thing bending has brought to the world is suffering. It has been the cause of every war in every era.
The us versus them approach has been and continues to be used by real politicians today. And in the real and fictional worlds, this approach can have dark and unintended consequences. In The Legend of Korra, Amon's radicalized followers willingly help him attack people, capture targets, and assisted in making sure benders lost their ability to command elements. Although Amon was defeated, the resentment he stirred up would not go away overnight.
But thankfully, modern technology has provided us with a way to even out the playing field.
Number 3. Anarchy. One of the clearest political ideologies to spot in The Legend of Korra is anarchism.
The idea of having nations and governments is as foolish as keeping the human and spirit realms separate. You've had to deal with a moronic president and a tyrannical queen.
A villainous group known as the Red Lotus believed that the world's hierarchy needed to be torn down. To them, this meant that the leaders of the four nations and the Avatar herself needed to perish in order to achieve real change.
Sounds like you wanted to brainwash me so I'd do whatever you wanted.
No, Korra. All I wanted was to show the Avatar a better path for the world.
The show depicts the terrifying fallout of trying to upset the power structure of the world in an instant. After they brought down the Earth Queen, her kingdom was united under the villainous and much more dangerous Kuvira. Korra's adventures showed us that sudden change through violent means can bring about something even worse.
So we lucky few, this band of brothers and sisters in anarchy, are witnessing the beginning of an era of true freedom. Together, we will forge a world without kings and queens.
Number 2. Fascism. While Season 4 villain Kuvira liked to call herself the Great Uniter, it was clear that she was anything but.
You have a lot of pride, but it cannot protect your people. Your pride will not stop the hordes as your city crumbles to the ground.
She initially helped restore peace and lead the Earth Kingdom after the Queen fell. Although she offered protection for loyal subjects, she showed an immense dislike for those who refused her.
Of course, if you don't want to join, you could always stay right here. Hopefully, someone saves you before the next train speeds through. But I wouldn't count on it.
It was soon clear that Kuvira would use any means necessary to keep her grip on her citizens. Her methods were often forcefully repressive. And Kuvira made it very clear that if you weren't with her, you were against her. The season did a fantastic job of showcasing how a dictator could come to power, and that even good people like Bolin could accidentally support a bad leader's sinister plans.
I mean, she could be tough, sure, but we're turning around the Earth Kingdom like you wouldn't believe. You remember how bad Grandma's neighborhood in Ba Sing Se was? All that's completely changed. I mean, we are really helping people.
Before we unveil our #1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Mistreating animals. The new airbenders stopped poachers from stealing infant sky bisons.
How can you steal these bison? They're endangered.
That's why they're worth so much. The Earth Queen and her fancy friends pay big money for bison steaks and other weird meat.
Gang violence. Groups like the Triple Threat Triads used bending to intimidate citizens.
Mr. Chung, please tell me that you have my money, or else I can't guarantee I can protect your fine establishment.
Forced soldiers. The Earth Queen made new airbenders join her army.
So you've discovered my elite army. I see their loyalty still needs some work.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. #1. PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder can come from a variety of upsetting events and is actually quite common.
What do you mean? Why would I want poison inside me?
Korra suffered from PTSD during the final season following her near-death experience at the hands of Zahir. The show has been praised for how it navigated the condition's symptoms, which include dreams linked to the traumatic event, a change in personality, and physical distress. And the scenes in which Korra's PTSD gets the better of her and makes her feel unworthy of being the Avatar are particularly heartbreaking to watch.
I'm sorry, but for years people have been saying they can help me get better. Nothing's worked. I need to figure this out on my own.
It's easy for those with PTSD to feel like they're on their own. But the show's exploration of Korra's mental state was a thought-provoking story that showed that other survivors aren't alone.
You're just in my mind. You're not real.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.